Good evening on Shine TV. You are welcome to the Dr. Love Show. My name is Ashorkor Adjei and I am your host, proudly sponsored by Fredco Constructions Company Limited, Bewless Collection, Apostle Felix Henry Dowu of the Abundance Grace Apostolic Church, and Vince Makeover. And as we always do, we have wonderful guests who are blessed to give you all that you need to keep all your relationship crisis. Let's take this break. When we come back, you are going to enjoy.
Do you need an outfit for any occasion? Then worry no more. Bewless Collections got you sorted. At Bewless Collections, we have everything ladies and kids, which includes dresses for church, wedding occasions, office wears, and many more. We also have bags, shoes, jewelries, purses, clutches, and ladies' underwear. For more information, contact Bewless Collections at 0558 690 790 or 0557 112508. We can also be located at Comty 2 opposite Santa Barbara School, close to PV or Bay Runabout. Bewless Collections, we boast your confidence.
Welcome back from that short break. We are still live on Shine TV, and this is the Dr. Love Show. As usual, I am your host, Ashorkor Adjei, and I do this with wonderful people who have all that it takes to help you come out of all your relationship crises. And today is none other but the Doctor, Pastor Patrick. Doctor, good evening.
Good evening, Nana. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Grace is keeping us.
We thank God for grace. You are looking good this evening.
Thank you.
And you are welcome back to the studios from that Easter break. We have a short story for today. Today's story is very short, but I think it's so deep. So I'll go straight to the story.
Sure.
Then we take it on from there. So I read. The rate at which men are taking care of other men's children as their biological kids. Should DNA tests be made mandatory? I believe there are people in the comment section reading, and those watching live, they can share their comments on the...
Sure. So should DNA be made compulsory?
Mandatory.
So should it be made compulsory in the context of the marriage? Or should we make it a demand that anybody who wants to get married should be able to say that, okay, so I want to sign up to do a DNA on the kids that will come out of the marriage? Okay. I personally think for it to be made mandatory would be an overstretch of it. However, it should be encouraged and it should be recommended. More especially when at any point in the marriage you begin to have doubts as to who the real father. And no, you see, normally when we talk about DNA, we tend to shift towards
the father side.
As if we are the only ones who would end up taking care of other people's kids. You could have mothers, or you could have people who may end up mothering other people's, but the only thing is that one is so obvious. Because it is always said that it is a woman who knows who the father of a child is. So normally, because it's the women who have
all the secrets.
Yes, who have the secrets, and then there are those who keep the babies in their tummies for 9 months and all of that. It's normally the fathers who end up doubting whether they are the fathers of the children or not. Okay, so I personally think that we have to find a way of encouraging, especially if you get to the point in a marriage where you doubt if you are really the biological father of the children you are fathering. Okay, and then again, I think this issue comes up when there is no trust in the marriage. Okay, so when we get to the point where you marry a woman, you don't know who the woman has been with, you don't know who the woman has dated in her past life and all of that, and then you get married to this person. Definitely, at a point, you would have doubts. Okay, you would have doubts. Okay, but I think if we are able to stay faithful in the marriage, there shouldn't and there wouldn't be the need for this DNA thing to come up. Okay, so I think we should find a way of advocating faithfulness, helping the women, and of course not just the women, the men too, to stay faithful in the marriage. If you're married to somebody, why would you want to cheat on the person? Okay, why would you want to go for another woman? Why would you want to go for another man beside your spouse? So all these things are factors that lead to men or women doubting the authenticity of their parenthood in the lives of the children.
But do you know that there are stubborn people? Should I say stubborn? There are people who do not know what they want. So no matter the advice you give them to be faithful or whatever, somebody comes in with something that feels attractive, and then they tend to go
Exactly. That is why there's one thing that Dr. Sylvester always says on this show, that marriage is for matured people. So at the end of the day, if you know you can't exhibit faithfulness, and again, I have always advocated for people to look out for the red flag during relationships. Okay, when you are in a relationship, when you are courting the person, when you are dating the person, there are things you need to look out for. So if you begin having suspicions of your partner cheating on you during the dating stage, and you think it is something that he or she can't work on, he or she can't discipline himself, please advise yourself there and then. Because the person is cheating whilst you are dating and is not ready to work on this weakness he or she has, and you leave the person on and end up settling with the person, please, the person, there is every likelihood that he or she will still cheat in the marriage. Okay, so let's look out for these things whilst we are dating, so that we don't overlook it and then get ourselves entangled
But
in
you
a marriage.
see, in this case, the women's own are very obvious like that. But men do cheat, and it's so difficult to find out. So
As
sometimes,
when a man is cheating, it's difficult to catch a man cheating.
yes,
You
like
think so?
they don't get like any results that will help you to go and think about DNA or something.
Okay.
So
Okay.
sometimes I sit and ask myself, so why is it that women worry themselves? Because you hide and do the thing, there is something that will still come out to show that this, especially pregnancy.
Exactly.
You hide and be doing your things in one corner. Pregnancy comes out, and then everybody finds out. So why hide?
Why hide and do? That's the first question you need to ask yourself. Okay, because of course, there are women who are smart. There is this general assertion that when a woman decides to cheat, it's difficult for you to catch her compared to a man. Why? Because women by nature have certain traits that make them different from men. Okay, so, and there's this also, well, I don't know how true it is, but they have this general thing they say that it is normal for men to cheat. So men cheating has been normalized by society, which of course I don't agree with it though. I see cheating to be attitude now rather than nature.
Yes.
Okay, so if someone is cheating, I think it is an attitude the person can put a stop to, than for us to say that because you are a man, it is easy for you to cheat, or it is natural, it is expected for you to cheat. I don't go by that assertion, because there are genuine men out there who don't see cheating as something to do. So you can't use one or two people's weakness, or one or two people something they do to generalize for the whole
everybody.
population. Exactly. Okay, so if a man goes to cheat, of course, when it comes to the pregnancy, it is not as the men who carry the pregnancy, it is the women who carry it.
Yeah.
So just as you rightly said, if a woman should go and cheat and becomes pregnant, it becomes so obvious, especially to the man. And one thing too we shouldn't forget is that in the context of marriage, when there is pregnancy, there is about 99% chance for everybody to attribute the pregnancy to the husband of the woman. Hardly do people point accusing fingers to married women who get pregnant and say, we suspect this pregnancy is not for your husband. It is only between the two of them who would get to know that this pregnancy is not for me, or this pregnancy is not for my husband. Especially when maybe they get to know at some point of the marriage, right after they finish getting married, through medical tests, they got to know that the man cannot impregnate a woman.
Okay.
The man is infertile and all those things. Okay. So when such a situation arises, then the man would know that once I can't, because I've heard of stories where the men, because they discovered at some point in the marriage they can't impregnate women, they sat down with their wives and then told them that, honey, you know I can't impregnate a woman. So I want to give you that opportunity. Go and get pregnant out there. Bring the baby. I would father the baby myself. So in such a situation, there wouldn't be the need.
That's fair enough.
That kind of
But
thing.
most men hide these issues from their wives.
Yes.
They fail to tell the wife that this is the situation at hand, maybe thinking they will go and cheat. And then the wife too stays and says that, no, this my husband is not coming close, then let me go out there and go and do it. Knowing fully well, the man knows fully well that they are not in the position to impregnate them, but they will not tell the woman. So if the woman goes out there and brings a pregnancy, then the DNA issues come in.
I don't think a man in that position would even have the moral right to demand for a DNA test. If you know yourself that you can't impregnate a woman, and your wife goes to bring pregnancy home, and you go and ask for a DNA test to confirm whether the child is yours or not. I mean, from the word go, you know you can't impregnate a woman. So I think the DNA test, again, there are situations and there are circumstances that should call for a DNA test.
I shouldn't be mandatory.
Exactly. Until those situations come up, why would you or why should you request for a DNA test?
What if there hasn't been any situation there, but you feel suspicious?
So in the first place, why would you suspect your spouse? Suspicions come in when you don't trust the person.
Yes.
And any marriage that is not built on trust cannot last.
And also for sometimes you can trust the person, but you see one or two things that a person does, then it raises your suspicion.
Exactly. What you're saying is a possibility. But then again, the marriage should be such that there shouldn't be any issue that cannot be talked about, especially an issue that affects the marriage. So, okay, if you start getting suspicious of your spouse, what prevents you from asking him or her, honey, lately I really don't understand your moves. Okay, at first you used to come home early. In the past 3 months, instead of coming home at 5, you now come home at 8. Why? What is making you change your time of coming home? Sit down with the person, talk to the person. If there is a breakdown of trust, if there is a breakdown of communication, if you start seeing certain signs showing up as the marriage progresses, the two of you should sit down and have a conversation. Don't wait till the situation deteriorates before you start requesting for a DNA test and all of that. Okay, so right from the word go, if things start changing, have a conversation and solve the problem there and then. Don't allow the problem to grow, because if it grows, then it will start birthing other issues. So it is very, very important that as a married couple, we sit down and address these things, because the DNA test is not done for free. You have to pay.
Yes.
Of course, I know there are some who can afford and all that, but it is not everybody who can afford. And I also think that if you're a woman, okay, and again, like I made mention of earlier, it is the women who know the fathers of their babies. If you know that the child you have brought to your husband is not for your husband, please be kind enough, because it would hurt so much for you to look after a child for about 10, 15, 20 years and then be told in the face that you are not the father of that child. I wouldn't want to find myself in the positions of husbands who have had to experience that. It will hurt so much.
So much.
It will hurt so much. So if you, the woman, you know your spouse or your husband is not the father of the baby you have brought, please make it plain to him. Let him understand. If he is ready to still go on ahead and then take care of the children, fair enough. If he is not,
I am thinking sometimes it's the fear of being divorced that makes them keep it a secret.
Then I think selfishness also comes in here.
Yes, that's where I'm coming to. But if you feel that this is a problem that is coming to arise after this that I'm going to do, then why do you go ahead to do it in the first place? Exactly.
Why do you go ahead to do it in the first place? Look, let us be fair to ourselves as married couples. Let us be fair to ourselves. And I think if we are fair to ourselves, Think about it. If you the woman who would want to put your husband in a position where he would request for a DNA test, if you were the one put in that position or in that situation, would you like it? Would you be happy? You wouldn't. So why would you want to put someone else in that position? If you know the children are not for your husband, right from the word go, let the person know. If the person would still want to father the child, fine. If he is not ready to father, or if he will not be ready to father the child, whoever is responsible for the pregnancy, I beg, go and look for the person.
Because how can you stay in a marriage and still be having extramarital affairs when you feel that the person cannot take care of children when they come? I have this policy that when I know what, unless I don't know, when I know what this can cost me, and the result that can come at the end, it's either I am prepared for it so that I can go in for it, or I won't come in for it. You know that what you are going to do is going to bring pregnancy. One, have you asked yourself, is the person willing to take care of a child? Is the person able, will the person be able to take care of a child? Then you just go in. Sometimes we act so smart and then one day, boom, then it comes in. Now you can't do anything about it and you end up forcing it on somebody.
That is why we most of the time want to encourage that, look, if you're not ready for childbearing, don't do things that will bring children.
That's one of my policies.
Exactly. So that we sanitize our society. So that we bring our society to a point where we empower the family system. Okay. So if the family system is empowered and we always encourage people to act responsibly, that which you are not ready for, don't go in for it, so that at least we have a sanitized environment where children are able to grow in serene environments. They are able to grow in a family system. So if you're a young man coming up, if you're a young woman coming up, no matter how hyper you would be sexually, please tame it. Or if you're not able to tame it, please use protection. But of course, we would always encourage people to wait and then do it in the context of marriage on this program. In as much as we want to try to understand the fact that some people are not able to control their feelings, would always advocate for discipline, where you control yourself and trust God to get married, and then you start giving birth in the context of marriage. Because no matter how difficult it is, I believe that when two of you come together and you put in a lot of effort, the children that God will bless you with, you would be able to take care of them. It is better that way than to do things that would, at the end of the day, break the fabric of society, the basic unit of society, which is the family. Okay, so let's help sanitize the family or the society by ensuring that we don't put ourselves in positions where childbearing out of wedlock and all of that comes up to destabilize the society and break down the moral fabric in the society.
But sometimes there are situations that put people in that position. But still there are people that have all that they need and then they still go out for extramarital affairs.
I think I would only attribute this to selfishness. Because look, what at all is it that you have or you want in the context of marriage again? That, of course, we know there are genuine situations where, again, like we made mention of earlier, you have a spouse or you have a husband who can't get you pregnant. And there are some men who are not even good in bed. There are some women who are not able to satisfy their spouses. I mean, all these issues, we know they happen. But again, when they come up in the context of marriage, are there no solutions to it? Sit down with your spouse. Talk about it. See how best both of you can agree to disagree on certain issues.
I think most of these whole situations comes to log on to lack of communication.
Exactly.
Communication is very key.
Exactly. Sit your spouse down. Honey, the last time we had sex, I didn't enjoy it at all. Okay, why didn't you enjoy it? I didn't reach my orgasm. Okay, so what can I do the next time to help you reach orgasm? Okay, so fondle me more. Touch this place. Do this. Communicate. Let there be communication.
People feel shy.
Why should you feel shy of your spouse? Why should you feel shy of your spouse? Okay. And oftentimes, I've had to talk to a lot of married couples on this thing. And just like you rightly said, The women are, okay, I'm shy. I don't know how my husband will take it. Oh, okay. So you wouldn't tell him? You would rather want to cheat on him than to tell him? No.
But I think this shyness also comes in when we were not friendly before we got into
Exactly.
the
And in
marriage.
fact,
So I
that's a
think we
discussion on
should,
its own
yes, I
side.
think we should
Yes.
check on that.
Yeah.
And viewers, this is where time will permit us to come to the end of the show. Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming to join us on the show today. And thank you for also watching. This is Shine TV and the Dr. Love Show, proudly sponsored by Vince Makeover, Bueller's Collection, Apostle Felix Henry Dowu of the Abundance Grace Apostolic Church, Fredco Constructions Limited. I am your host, Na Ashorkor Adjei. Have a good evening.